Before we get started, I want to ask you guys to answer a question for me in the comments. If this little screen right here is not necessary, I'll go ahead and get rid of it for now because I realize that the video quality is very low. I feel like it might be a distraction for you. So if that is the case, let me know in the comments below and I'll go ahead and get rid of this screen until I upgrade my video equipment, which is later on down the road. But as long as you guys keep subscribing, liking, and commenting, that investment is definitely coming in the near future.
3, 2, 1.
Hi, my name is Ian. Welcome to my channel, Inflightmuzik. This is part 1 of 3 808 tutorials that will get you to subscribe. Now, the reason I'm dividing this into 3 parts, I realized that my previous couple tutorials have been a little too long. I've started realizing through the analytics that a lot of you are missing out on some of the most important tips. I think the best thing for me to do for you is to make these videos shorter and to divide them up into different parts. So there's a ton of tutorials out there that talk about putting your 808 in key. They're great, but a lot of them are showing you things that don't work 100% of the time. Like, for example, sending your 808 into Edison, clicking edit, and then locating the pitch regions, detect pitch region. And the problem with this is not every 808 is going to be able to detect that accurately. Depending on the initial attack of the 808, the actual pitch of the 808 as a whole might be different than that initial attack, because the design of most 808s in general have a really high pitch that drops down to create the initial sound of the 808. Basically means that beginning pitch isn't the true pitch of the 808. To avoid you guys running into that mistake, I have a totally different way of how I find the pitch of an 808. So right here I have FL keys loaded up, and all I did in the piano roll was just create 1-bar notes that go on for 8 bars, and I just highlighted the C scale starting on C major. So you can see here, if you wanted to, you could go to scale highlighting, helpers, scale highlighting, and click C major, and it'll highlight all the white keys for you just so that you could more easily see what you're doing. And you just want to start on C and click in all of those notes. So here I have a basic 808, old school Lex Luger 808. What we're going to do, we're just going to copy and paste those notes into the piano roll for your 808. So from there, we're going to go into the channel settings of the 808 and look at the mini piano. And all we're going to do is right click these different notes until this 808 matches the FL keys. Now, an important tip is to make sure that you can actually hear the 808. So right now, the 808 being on C4 sounds like this. That's going to be too low for you to hear. So hit Control A and then hit Control up a couple times, and that will pitch the 808 up 2 octaves. And now you can hear it a lot better. All right, so from there, all we want to do is play the 808 and the keys at the same exact time. And you'll hear that it sounds disgusting, that it doesn't match up the notes. You can hear it's just dissonant, it's not working out. So what you do is right click on these notes as we go along. And there's another huge benefit to doing this, which is going to actually prevent you from ever having to pitch your 808s ever again. So definitely keep following along here. So I'm going to play this, and I'm just going to change the pitch of the 808 until it matches perfectly, until these notes harmonize. That's off. You can already hear that second note's off. That very first note's off. It sounds like it's going to work. All of those notes are perfectly in sync. And you could usually tell within the first 3 notes if it's going to match up or not. Usually you could hear errors within the first 3 or 4 notes. So now the next trick that I'm about to show you is huge. You'll notice in my 808s folder, I don't have samples here. These are all saved 808s. And a lot of people will, save your 808 with Edison or something like that. You'll export it out. But the problem with that is it's still in the original pitch that it was in. So if you actually go to this drop-down menu right here and click Save Channel State As, it's going to save your entire channel settings. So now every time I load this 808 up, it's going to be perfectly in key. And the reason we want it on C, that will get you to be able to play the 808 exactly with the notes matching up to the piano roll, which is how all of your synths work, which is how FL Keys works. It starts on C in terms of you playing your keyboard or you playing on the piano roll. So if you match it up exactly like how I showed you, your 808 is always going to be in key. And then you just save channel state as, save it into your drum folder wherever you want, and you'll be able to drag these back in and they'll be exactly the way that you saved it. Boom. It's, instead of it being on C, it's exactly right here. Another advantage of this, you could save the cut itself. So instead of going in with every 808 that you load up and having to cut itself so that the notes cut off when the new note plays, you'll already have that saved, so you won't have to worry about it. Some of these 808s you want to save in mono, and maybe you want to add a little slide to your 808. You could save that as well. Now here with this 808 I loaded, you can notice that there's this little red mark right here, and I have use loop points on. When I have that turned off, this is what the 808 sounds like when I play it. And this is me holding down the note. A lot of people will tell you to go into the envelope and change these settings to look something like this to make the 808 play as long as you want it. Well, that's false. That's not true. It's playing a little longer, but it's not playing as long as I want it. So with these loop points, now take a listen. Now it's playing forever. Here's Spinz 808 without the loop points. We're gonna click Edit, and we're just gonna highlight a cycle or 2 cycles or 3 cycles of this waveform. So a cycle is the waveform going up and down and going back to the center. For example, right here, I have 3 cycles selected. And before you do that, you actually want to go to these snap settings. Right now I have snap samples. You want to change that to snap to 0 crossing. So let me redo that. Start here. And the reason you do that is to prevent pops and clicks when you make your loop. So from there, I'm just going to hit Control L, hit accept, and you can already hear that it was looping forever right there. But let's click out of that so we're not just highlighting that section, and press a key and see how long it loops for. It loops forever and there are no pops and clicks. Now sometimes if you're trying to do this manually, you'll see that the 0 point crossing is right here, at least to the eye, but trust FL Studio. Where it's set it is actually the better spot for 0 point crossing. If I were to try to move it onto the 0 point crossing, it's gonna pop and click. So let me undo that. Go ahead and trust FL Studio on where the 0 point crossing is. So now we're gonna drag this into the sampler, and right there, it has the loop point saved. Again, just go to the drop-down menu, click Save Channel State As, and you can click that in or off, however you want to save the channel state. Another good thing about Spinz 808, Spinz 808 is already in the key of C. That's another reason why Spinz 808 is super popular, because it's already in key for you. If you're having trouble listening to FL Keys or another synth or whatever to match up with your 808, load up Spinz 808. And go ahead and pitch that up. So here I have Spinz 808, and I went ahead and made the same exact pattern with all the white notes. So now when we play this Lex Luger 808 with it, you're gonna clearly hear that it's not matching up when we go back to where the original sample was. It's gonna sound real nasty. Sounds horrible, right? But as soon as I get it in the right key, it's going to sound awesome. You're going to hear how that harmonizes perfectly. So that's another trick. I went ahead and included all of this MIDI for you, even though it's super easy to do, but I went ahead and just put it in the description for you. And I also put Spinz 808 in there. I mean, it's really easy to find Spinz 808. I'd be really surprised if you don't have it already. A lot of people will rename Spinz 808 in their own drum kits and 808 packs, which is a horrible practice. But yeah, all of you probably already have Spinz 808. But in case you don't, I went ahead and put it in the description for you along with the MIDI so that you could do everything that I just showed you. All right, in part 2 of the series, I'm going to show you guys how to manipulate these other settings that everyone ignores, and even these settings right here with the level adjustments, and how to make your 808s really bang before you even add any effects. We're also going to look at these pre-computed effects, which originally were in the older versions of FL Studio, which is why FL Studio 11 was so popular and remained popular even after FL 12 came out. But ever since FL 20 came out with these pre-computed effects, a lot of people went ahead and jumped over to FL 20. There's another reason why people are using FL 11 still, but that's about to be eliminated with the new update in FL 20.1, which I'm super excited for. FL 20.1, that version of the DAW is going to be better than any other beat-making DAW. DAWs that are specifically geared towards just making beats, not necessarily audio editing, but there's just going to be so many features in there that really trump using any other DAW in terms of being a traditional FL Studio user and making beats super, super fast. I'll probably make a video about that because I already have a video idea for 21 things that I want in FL Studio 21 when that comes out next year. If it comes out next year, who knows? Maybe they'll come out with FL 32 next year with the way that they've been numbering these things. All right, that about covers it for today's tutorial. I hope you join me in the next 2 tutorials because they get even more advanced than what I showed you here. And like I said, the reason I split this up into 3 parts, I realized that the previous tutorials were just a little too long and a lot of you were only watching half of it. And all the good stuff was really in the second half. So to help you guys out, because I know everyone's strict on time, especially in the online world, to help you guys out, I'm going to split these up, make these tutorials shorter, and that way you can watch the entire tutorial and get every single gem that I lay out. If you like this video, subscribe, like, comment, and especially if you have any questions about anything that I showed you here, or if you're requesting something that I cover in the future tutorials, let me know. Peace.